Alright, so continuing on, we have the boy. Hold on, I get back to my page so I can write down the score when I'm done. So, I remember the marketing for this. It was heavily marketed as this was a supernatural killer doll story, right? And, hold on, I'm gonna spill my Asian tea here. Sorry, had a spill. So, yes, so the story is that Greta, played by Lauren Cohen, is brought in as a nanny slash babysitter for a boy named Brahms by this British family. It's revealed that Brahms is actually a doll that they treat as if it is a child, and the parents go on holiday. She has to follow a particular set of rules when dealing with the doll, which she doesn't take serious at first. And then when strange things start to occur, she starts to take them more seriously. And you'd be remiss if you were thinking that this is going to go in one way. It's a very, if you thought this was a haunted doll or something, and in the end, Curse was going to go, or something, and people were going to die, and then the doll's just going to move on to the next person. But then there's a part, maybe halfway through the film, where the two parents who are supposed to be on holiday fill their pockets with rocks and walk into a lake to kill themselves. Don't know why you could use a gun, but okay, it's quicker, it's easier, but maybe it's a PG-13, so less violence. That's when you start to realize that something else is going on here. I mean, it could still be a supernatural threat, weighing down the spirit of their dead son. He's controlling his dolls too much. They just had enough. That could be it. But there's a pivotal moment when Greta's ex-boyfriend Cole shows up, and he's an asshole. He smashes the doll, and that's when we get the twist. So before I get to revealing the twist, which divided the audiences, let's talk about, when did this movie come out? Well, it came out in January of 2016. Yes, the place where all horror movies go to die, January. But I guess there's a movie that came out before this called The Forest. It was terrible. This one actually did a little bit better, and I think that I think it's split down the middle, though, is the twist that really gets people. I've heard people praise the twist. I've heard people, say, no, it didn't work for me. Because some people just don't get that they were kind of teasing this. But the rules at the beginning of the film, no loud music, no leaving, you leave extra food out, and don't, they have traps so that mice don't get into walls. So, yeah, there was something going on. Well, you like the suspense that we get, and there are subtle clues as to what's going on. You see low POV shots throughout most of the film. There's a scene where she's in the shower. Yes, my man, I gotta call it this scene. She's wiping herself down or whatever. You see it from a lower point of view. It could be a child watching this. And, it's done very well. I think the camera work is done very well. And who's the director here? William Brent Bell. I think he did a very good job with this film. And I think the best part of this film is that twist. Because throughout this film, you are saying that it could, there's a lot of good stuff, but it seems very generic. It's your generic haunted doll thing, and you have to follow the rules. And she's showing this guy, the guy from Hellboy, that something is going on. Oh, there's a haunting, there's a ghost. What are they going to do? Is it a good ghost? Is it a bad ghost? it must be a good ghost because the Hillshires, that's the name of the old couple, live with this ghost of their son. But I don't know. Brahms also didn't like some of the other nannies. And it's implied that he killed them, so who knows? But then the twist comes. Cole shows up. He demands that Greta come back with him. She says no. She has to take care of the doll. He smashes the doll, and the house seems to come alive. But then a mirror bursts open, and you see these hands just come rolling out. And that's when you realize this is real. There's an adult-sized Brahms living in the house. Like earlier in the film, kind of go away from it, we are told that there's an incident with Brahms with a child that he accidentally killed, quote, quote, accidentally, killed a little girl and caused a fire, and it was said that Brahms died in the fire. Turns out he must have been scarred. He put on a doll mask on his face and created this doll. Yes, in this film, he created the doll. Because it makes sense, because at the end of this film, he's fixing the doll after it's been smashed. So, in this sense, he created the doll. I don't care what the sequel says. We'll get to that in good time. But, because the biggest problem with the sequel is they retcon a bunch of things because of the knee-jerk reaction from some of the fans towards the twist in this film, thinking it was going to be a supernatural film, and it wasn't. And the twist turned that upside down on its head right away. So yes, the twist that it was actually an adult Brahms living in the house, living in the walls of the house, controlling things, using the doll to take control. Decent twist. He kills Cole, as was foretold, because he is the douchebag of the film, so he deserves to die. And then there's another fire, and Greta and Mr. Hellboy, they get out. And then we get a little teaser at the end where he's rebuilding the doll. And that's supposed to lead us to a sequel, which came out, 4 years later. Came out last year. Didn't do so well because of retconning. But I do think there's some great atmosphere. And most of that is due to the camera work, the score, just the feeling of... And it's very secluded. Except for Mr. Hellboy. I think his name is Malcolm in this film. Except for Malcolm coming over once in a while to give groceries. It's just Greta. And this big house. And the doll. So there's not much... Sorry. There's not much of characters in this film. The Hillshires go away very quickly. They're there for like the first, I want to say 10 minutes, and then they're gone. And then you just have Greta and the doll, and then Malcolm every once in a while, and then Cole towards the end. There's not a lot of characters. It's very contained. It's very quiet. Not as quiet as A Quiet Place, but quiet nonetheless. Very secluded. The camera work is very good. The low angle shots to show that it's from the doll's point of view, although once we revealed that it's not a doll doing it, but an actual adult. He could be down low, I don't know. But, yeah. I think it's a good time. It's not one of the best horror movies you've ever seen, but I think it's decently made. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I think it's a decently made horror film. And I was looking forward to the sequel, but then... having already taken 4 years to get the damn thing out, I wasn't keen on it. And then the trailers made me think otherwise. And yes, the trailer for this one was misleading because they did show some supernatural stuff, but those ended up being scenes in the film that were dreams, which I think worked for the marketing because people went in expecting one thing, they got another, and for those who really liked the twist, it worked. For those who didn't, not so much. But overall, like I said, it's 6 out of 10. It's enjoyable. It's fine. It's fun. And I recommend it to those who just want a decent horror film. Put it on and relax. It's fine. And it was a big contrast. Had I watched this last night, right after The Witch, I probably would have fell asleep. as late as it was, because I was like midnight when I got done doing the review and everything. I'll compare it to The Witch, and it's not as good, but obviously I gave this a 9. This is the highest so far, but still pretty good. So that, but it also puts it on the bottom of the other ones so far. But we're only 4 movies into this. Speaking of which, we got another one. We got a Blu-ray coming in now because we just did a DVD. Oh, okay. Midnight Movie, a independent horror film I found at a pawn shop for like $1, $3. It was a Blu-ray. It's $3. Yeah. Winner, Best Feature Film, and Best Cinematography, 2008 Chicago Horror Film Fest. Far be it for me to question anyone from Chicago, the greatest state in the United States, or the greatest city in the greatest state of Illinois in the entire United States. But I doubt it. I've seen part of this film and I didn't get that from it. Just saying. So I guess we'll check that out next. So, what are your thoughts on The Boy? Leave me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty. We'll see you in the next one.